welcome to the Fox Tucson Theater for Families at Home series. My name is Jordan Wiley-Hill, and in addition to coordinating the Kids in the Theater KIT program at the Fox Tucson Theater, I am also a longtime educator and storyteller. Now, last time, I said that storytelling is one of the most ancient performing art forms that we have as humans. But when we think about stories today, we often think about much newer things. How about you? When you think of stories, do you think of books, maybe? Shows? Movies? But before there were movies, before there was TV or YouTube or books, before there was even writing, we humans were telling stories. We were telling stories in what's called the oral tradition, from the mouth of the storyteller to the ears, imaginations, and hearts of the listeners. And today, in my own storytelling, I try to keep that oral tradition alive. There are a bunch of stories that I tell that I never have seen written down. I don't even know if they are written down. All I know is that I heard it from someone, and it went from their mouth into my ears. It blossomed in my imagination, took root in my heart such that I started to share it with others. And today, I have a story like that for you. I heard this story from a Cherokee storyteller, and it came into me, and now I share it to you so that we are all part of the oral tradition. Now, for this story, we have some movements and some noises. You can do this standing or sitting, but let's practice right now. The first movement is shuffling your feet. If you're standing, you can just kind of move around, do a little dance. If you're sitting, just wiggle your feet around. The next is clapping. You ready? Clap along with me. Going. And the final one is some crazy singing. Open up your mouth and go. Blah, 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 blah. Whatever comes out is totally fine. Now let's try putting those together. Move those feet, shuffle them around, wiggle them, and while you're wiggling your feet, start clapping. And while you're clapping, start that crazy singing. Ah, blah, 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 blah. I think we're ready. So everybody settle in. Take a deep breath in and out. Here is Rabbit's Song from the Heart. Once upon a time, a long time ago, many traditions say that the animals used to walk around the earth and talk like people do. In fact, they say that the animals back then were even able to shapeshift into different forms. And in this story, they were able to come apart and be put back together like no big deal. Kind of like a Mr. Potato Head kind of doll, if you know those. And so it was in those days that the animals used to gather together for these big meetings every now and then. They would come together in this large cave, and the eagle, she would preside. But every time they would have a meeting like this, Rabbit was always moving around and making a lot of noise and talking to people and singing little songs. He was disruptive. And Eagle tried one thing after another, but nothing seemed to work. And finally, she had enough. The next time there was one of those meetings, and the animals were all coming together, gathering in at that cave, Eagle was waiting outside. And as soon as she saw Rabbit coming, she stepped in front of his path, spread her wings out, and said, "Rabbit, you are not allowed in the meeting this time." And she folded her wings and went hopping back into the cave. Rabbit looked at her and was like, "Ah!" Because he liked being in the meetings. He liked being around all the other animals. And he watched sadly as all the animals streamed into the cave until he was stuck alone outside. And first he just felt sad, and then he felt upset, and then he started to feel kind of bored and antsy. He wanted to be in there with all the action. But then he remembered. He had a little dance he'd recently learned. And so he started shuffling his feet. Everybody help me out. Shuffle your feet, do a little dance. And once his feet started moving and his body started grooving, well, then he began to do a little clap. And once his clap started going, he just had to open his mouth and sing, everyone, going, la, 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 blah, 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 blah. Well, inside the cave, all the animals, including the eagle, heard this commotion from outside. And immediately the eagle, she knew it had to be Rabbit. And she was like, oh, even outside of the meeting, he's causing problems. We've got to stop this. So she looked around for the scariest, most fierce animal she could spot. And there he was. Bullfrog. She said, Bullfrog, can you go and stop the rabbit? And Bullfrog was like, rip. So he hopped outside. And he went up to Rabbit, blip, and he said, Rabbit, Rabbit, stop. And he turned around and hopped back into the cave. Well, the meeting started up again inside the cave, and Rabbit was like, ah! But he couldn't really stop for long. Pretty soon, his feet started to move. His hands started to clap. Here we go, everybody. And he started to sing. La, 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 la. And the eagle heard it. And she was just, oh. She looked around for another animal to help. And she said, Wolf, Wolf, will you stop the rabbit singing? And the wolf said, it would be my pleasure. And he went outside. He walked right up to that singing and dancing rabbit, and he saw those feet going. He thought, if I stop the dance, I'll stop the song. And he reached out, and using that power animals had to just come apart easily, painlessly, he reached out, grabbed the legs of the rabbit, and popped them off, tossed them to the side, and went back into the meeting. And Rabbit looked down and was like, ah! But he still had his hands. And so, with me, he started to clap. And once he started clapping, he started singing, going, ah, la, 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 la. And they heard it inside. And Eagle was like, ugh. She looked around and said, you, Bear, stop that rabbit song. And Bear was like, don't mind if I do. And he made his way outside. He saw Rabbit singing and clapping and thought if he could stop that clapping, he could stop the song. So he reached out, grabbed Rabbit's little hands, and popped the arms off, tossed them to the side, and went back in. And Rabbit was like, ah! But he still had his mouth. So with me, he started to sing, la, 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 la. And inside, Eagle heard it. She turned to Mountain Lion and said, Mountain Lioness, please, can you just stop the rabbit song? And the Mountain Lioness just silently went outside. She looked at the rabbit and knew there was only one thing to do to stop the song. She reached out, grabbed the rabbit by his ears, and popped off his head and tossed it to the side and went back into the meeting. And so the meeting kept on going. And for a few moments it was quiet and Eagle was thinking, oh, finally. But then from outside, the animals started to hear this strange sound. It sounded kind of like this. And it kept on going, and more animals were getting distracted by it until soon their curiosity just overcame them. They had to see what this noise was, and they started going outside. The meeting fell apart. Everyone streamed out, and the eagle, she just could not believe this. She hopped out behind everyone. She cleared a path with her wings and found that everyone was gathered around little Rabbit's body. And from inside that body, this noise was coming. And Eagle went, oh, now I get it. All this time, I thought Rabbit was just being annoying, trying to be disruptive. But now I see. That song is a song from the heart. And you can't stop a song that comes from the heart. So animals, put Rabbit back together. And so they did. They went over and grabbed his legs and popped them back on. They popped his arms back on. They popped his head back on. And Rabbit went. And he looked around. And he saw all the other animals gathered around and staring at him. And he went, hey. His legs started to move. Come on, everybody, with me. His hands started to clap. And he started to sing. La, 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 la. And all the animals joined in. Everybody! La, 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 la. Because you can't stop a song that comes from the heart. The end. And everybody take a deep breath in and out. Shake the story into your bones. Well, I hope you enjoyed Rabbit's song from the heart. And we would love it if someone in your house could take a video of you doing Rabbit's song and dance and post it here so that we can all be dancing together virtually from the heart. Now, when I think about songs from the heart, of course I think about actual songs, music that moves our hearts. I think about stories, but I also think about feelings, about emotions. In some ways, our hearts are always singing to us and the world all day long with how we're feeling, what's coming up from our heart. Now, just as with Rabbit, we can't stop those feelings. That singing is always going to be happening. We may not always like how some of those feelings feel. We may even try to block them or hide them, but deep down inside, they're always coming up. They're always being sung. So let's get into some of those feelings right now with a little acting game from the Fox Tucson Theater to your home theaters everywhere. This is the Heart Song Reset. So how we do it is everybody stand up, loosen up your body, get ready. I'm going to give you an emotion, and you, standing in place without touching anything or anyone around you, you're going to act it out a little bit until I say freeze. So let's start with feeling sad. Okay, ready? 3, 2, 1, action. Act out feeling sad, going, and now freeze. Whatever sad position you're in, hold it and feel it. Notice what your body is like when it's acting sad. And free up one of your hands while the rest of your body stays frozen. And point to the different places you feel the sadness in your body. Maybe in your heart. Maybe your eyebrows are down and scrunched. Maybe your body is bent over a little bit. Whatever it is for you, point to the different places where you can feel it. And then, like we talked about last time, even though we can't stop our feelings, sometimes we can help move them through us. So let's call that resetting, going back from chaos to calm. And imagine that we have a reset button right in our hearts. Take your finger and push your reset button and calm. Go. Okay, we're going to try that again with some other feelings. Let's do excited, okay? 3, 2, 1, action. Act out excited. And freeze. Hold the position of excited. Feel it in your body. Where is it? Free up one of your hands while the rest of you stays frozen in an excited pose and point. What's your body doing that's different, that feels different about excited? How are your feet, your shoulders, your eyes, your hands? And then get your finger and go push your heart reset button to calm and okay, let's try another one. This one is scared. Remember to stay in one place and act out scared in 3, 2, 1, action. Freeze! Notice what your body's doing. Feel it, really feel it, all the different places where it's feeling the scared. And now free up one hand and point. Where are the places that you feel it? Your face, your shoulders, what's your neck doing? And hit your reset button going calm. Last one. This one, it's really important not to touch anyone or anything around you. Stay in your space, and you're going to act out angry. You ready? 3, 2, 1, action. And freeze. Feel it in your body. Free up one of your hands and point. What is your body doing that shows angry? What is your body doing? How do you feel it in your body? Where do you feel it in your body? And then take your finger to your reset button and help move the anger through you. Not stop the anger, but move it through with your heart going. And take a deep breath in and let it go with a big sigh. So friends, if we don't know what we're feeling, or if it's being blocked inside of us somehow, well, our heart's just going to keep on singing those feelings up. And sometimes they'll build up and build up, build up. They might come out in all sorts of weird ways, and they might also sometimes just explode out of us in ways that are not always so good for us or the people around us. That's why it's so important to do what we just practiced doing. Noticing what we're feeling as much as we can. Are we happy? Are we sad? Are we angry, frustrated, calm? Feeling it in our bodies and in our hearts. And then finding a way to reset. Maybe by talking with someone that we trust, maybe sharing what's going on, maybe doing an activity like we did last time. Say, tense and relax. That's all especially true right now when there's so much going on around us. And our lives might have changed because, let's say, we're not at school and we're home instead. Our parents or people that we live with are at home. There's a lot of big feelings coming up for a lot of people. So it's so important to learn how to meet those feelings with a bit more wisdom and a bit more care. So let's keep doing that with a bit of an online game. Let's take the activity that we just did and get someone in your house to take a video of you acting out one of the feelings or any feeling you can think of, and then have them post it. And in the comments, people can guess what feeling you are having. It's like online charades. Let's give it a shot. And also, going forward, let's try to remember Rabbit, an eagle, how she might have tried to block those feelings, but ultimately she couldn't, because you can't stop a song that comes from the heart. Until next time, friends, I'll be seeing you. Bye-bye.